Good evening, everybody. It's Monday night. It's Steady Eddie live. It's 10:15, and well, I'm amazed to actually make it here. Anyway, to be honest with you, great to have you people here. First of all, let's get something out of the way with. Okay, I'm still recovering from my shoulder problem when I can't lift my arm, and it's still a scenario. I struggle to put a t-shirt on. What I'm having to do, you think this is some sort of bloody costume that, I'm actually having to cut up old t-shirts, down the middle in order to get them over my head because, otherwise I won't get them on and put a vest over it. So anyway, I'm not fully recovered, but I'm getting there anyway, better than I was. So thanks for everybody's concern anyway. It did cross my mind that, with, just over a week to go before traveling, I'll be traveling sometime next week. Am I physically going to be able to get on that aeroplane? But I'm recovering unless something else dreadful happens. I'm fit to fly. So anyway, let me just say hello to people. Carl Timothy, nice to hear from you, mate. Tom Easton, Leeds, Yoz Travels. Someone called Steady Eddie Live. Oh no, that's me. Terry Jones, good evening. Lieutenant Columbo's glass eye. I've enjoyed your South American vids. Actually, I was uploading on my other old laptop. I brought that from the dead, because it's got a CD drive in it, a DVD drive on it. So I was actually uploading, a Machu Picchu video. Hoping to get that out by now, but that other one's so slow. It's not just the Wi-Fi. I mean, I should have done it on this laptop here. But yeah, thanks for that anyway, mate. Niall M. What's this? Carl, tell me, what am I supposed to do for the next 48 minutes? Okay, I'm sure you're thinking something, mate. Terry Jones, 15 minutes late. Anyone guess what? Well, what it is, you see, I've only just woke up really about an hour or so ago. Because I'm falling asleep, whenever I need to fall asleep. But I've stopped taking those codeine tablets because I've just stopped taking them. I think I'm at the stage now, and hopefully when I wake up, I've still got aches and pains. But anyway, Ed Sweeney's 20 stone white back in England. Okay, we'll let that one speak for itself. Let's see. Barry from EastEnders. Okay, nice to hear from you, mate. Nice to hear from you. Carl Timothy's probably on the coast of Heathrow. No, not until next week. Let's see. 90 minutes on the exercise bike. He's probably doing another food review. Okay. Kiev Barnes. Hopefully Lisa Dale shows up tonight and she is not busy getting rogered. Okay. Yours travels, things the end of the week. I'll leave on Tuesday. Can't come quick enough. That's what my missus says. Okay, yeah, good for you, yours. I may well see it on there because I'm after Bangkok next week. I mean, I know I'm repeating myself now, but I did think at one moment, is it realistic of me to be doing this travel, to be attempting to get on there? Because I could hardly move my arm. But then, if you look back about a month or so ago, it was the other arm. You've got to take a chance, man. You've got to take a chance. So as far as I know, I'm going to be on the airplane next week. This is the point in time when I'm nervously checking my emails because, every day I'm looking at that emails. I booked that flight, it was about 3 months ago, something like that. I'm nervously checking my emails, getting that dreaded email. Sorry, Mr. Sweeney, but we've had to delay your flight. We've had to cancel. No, it's nothing like that. I'm not getting any emails. As far as I know, I'm fit to fly next week. Okay. Tom Easton, I'm 29 days to wait. Good for you. Let me see now. Kamasuki, Sean Griffiths, Terry Jones. Terry Jones is going to be his last live stream on British Soul before his holes. No, I'm going to try and make it for Thursday. I'm going to try and make it on the other channel for Thursday. That will be my last one. Kamasuki, let's have a bottle of Navy rum to warm up. Guess what I'm drinking? Lovely glass of Caroline Monroe. 90 minutes on the exercise bike, 5 stars. Yummy. I was still managing to get on the exercise bike. The good thing is, even though I haven't been mobile, I can still get on the exercise bike, and I've still been doing my exercise because and I actually managed to do a bit of a walk through a country lane today as well. So I'm getting there anyway. Yeah, Terry Jones. I think I mentioned at this point, he's got a few trick or treats at the door. I think I should mention at this point that, you know, I was thinking of doing a Halloween one, but what really put me off it, there's some people, you know, are not really bothered about Halloween, and there's probably plenty of that stuff going on already. But what really put me off, I mean, you know, those kids, 153 of them at the last count, who were killed in Seoul, Korea, at the weekend. You know, I thought maybe it might be a little bit disrespectful. You know, so, you know, I'm not saying anyone else does Halloween is being disrespectful, but you know, it was really quite shocking. Those young, and they were only like teenagers who were killed during Halloween celebrations at the weekend. So that's, for me, that's put a bit of a dampener on it. And also other reasons which I'm going to discuss a little bit. There's a couple of big questions coming up tonight, you know, which you may find interesting, but one of them is related to the Halloween and Halloween movies. So let's see. Who's this? Woofy Nons. 1 pad thai with a side of chips, 2 Heinekens and a red wine for 400 baht. Bloody good value. Okay, thank you. Matthew Cartwright, nice to hear from you, mate. Martin Ryder. Martin Ryder, course light ready. You are, mate. I've been taking the course. Oh my God. Do you know something? It's bloody embarrassing. I get those cases and you know, I fill up I empty one box, you know, I drink what's in it, you know, I put the box to the side and then put all the empty bottles in. Before I know, I got 4 bloody. The other day, I had 4 stacked boxes of cords with empty bottles in. I had to take them out to the bin. Oh my God Almighty! Well, you know, bloody awful. Martin Ryder, cue sleazy jazz music. Sandra Taylor, nice to hear from you, Sandra Taylor. Okay, nice to hear from you. Martin Ryder, Children of the Night, what music they make. Bela Lugosi's amazing line. Okay, so let's just skip through all of this. Oh my! Bloody! Is this a real one? Oh God Almighty! God Almighty! Yeah, Sean Cliffs. Here we go. Count Eddie is in the house. Okay. You know, how are you doing, Ed? Shoulder better, okay? It's a little bit better. It's not perfect. I'm just bloody hoping that nothing happens next. In the last month or so, some of you might remember a stream I done about 5 weeks ago or whatever, where it was my right shoulder and arm couldn't move, and I had to end the stream. And then, you know, a couple of weeks later, it was my right leg, and then, you know, a couple of weeks ago, it was my left shoulder, and this is the one that's taken a long time. I've got a sneaky feeling that once I get out to the tropical climate of Thailand, I will feel altogether better. I think that, you know, it's got to be something to do with the colder weather. I've noticed this before. As soon as the colder weather comes in around about October, you know, I start getting all kinds of aches and pains. Ivan is here. Eddie the Impaler, okay. Den Travelark, even Eddie, hope you're well, mate. The strange thing is that this isn't a Halloween costume. This is because I've actually cut one of these. If I can show you, it's an old frog T-shirt which I got from the Amazon or something like that. I have had to dig out old T-shirts and cut them down the middle and get them on me. Hopefully by next week, I will actually be able to get a proper T-shirt over my head. Terry Jones, Eddie's covers a corpse, okay. McLaren there, Clive. Eddie, great to see you, mate. Well, you've interrupted my turn and gone my Philippine and cyber chat on WhatsApp. Damn, I'm turning it on. Good for you. Good for you. Sandra Taylor, oh, Eddie, having to cut your shirt, not good. No, it isn't. I think that's a useful tip. That you always keep handy some old T-shirts in case you have an emergency. I mean, sometimes I wear on a cold day I'll wear an old T-shirt underneath my shirt, but I never ever thought that these would come in handy to actually get them over my head. Over my head. It's a bizarre thing to do, but life's very very strange. Life's very very strange. Okay. Billy Bob, wear a shirt with buttons, Ed. Should be easy to put on. Yeah, but I actually like the feel of a T-shirt next to my skin. I don't actually wear a shirt, without wearing, something underneath it, because I'm sweaty, very, very sweaty person. Bent over, nice to hear from you. Sandra Taylor, I was so excited. I feel like when you get a present you don't like. I feel like getting a present you don't like. Oh, thanks a lot, Sandra. Hope you have a nice evening. Mike from Wales. Hi, Ed. Good to see you. Good to see you. Okay. Let's see. Okay, so we'll get on with this anyway. So, like I say, I'm traveling next week. And but there's a couple of things that we can talk about anyway tonight. This is a stream which I wasn't sure whether I could do this, because like I say, I've been sleeping long hours, and it's a struggle to get up after my evening sleep. I am until 1 Year's Eve in London, going to a crowd crush as people went home after fireworks. Really scary. I know it's frightening when you think. I mean, that alleyway in Seoul, Korea, has probably been there for donkey's years. And whoever would have thought that it would have been the scene? It's because all those surging people went down the wrong alleyway and got crushed. And it made me think about other places. I mean, how about Amsterdam? Anyone who's ever been to Amsterdam, some of the, in the De Wallen area, some of the alleyways there, Jesus, they are so, you can hardly get a couple of people passing at a time. Some of those alleyways in De Wallen, they are so narrow, so narrow. It makes you really think. I mean, where else is there, like, I mean, that alleyway didn't look particularly narrow, but I mean the ones in Amsterdam, Jesus, they're like you back the alleyway that runs up the side of your house. Yours travels there, calling it Coors Light, but it doesn't say light on the bottles. Can when you look at it, they have double the calories now, so it's not the old Coors Light. Okay. Well, I'm still doing the Coors Light, but I must admit I do fancy a real beer now and again. Ian Bowden, nice to hear from you, mate. Nice to hear from you. Good to see you out of your vest. Okay. Steve Gamble, a deep time massage might free your shoulder up. No pain, no gain. Okay. Charlie Stewart, right arm, left arm, right leg. There's a song there somehow. Okay. Mr. R, subluxed shoulder stroke. Don't mention the word stroke. Don't like that word. Wildcat 66. Just join. There's some ladies try to rip your shirt off in the co-op. It's your magnetism, mate. Okay. Sandra Taylor, Eddie, what I'm having to do is get the bad arm in first, and then the other. Well, that's what I do. That's what I've been doing. I've been putting my arm in first, and then putting it over the head, and then the other arm. It's a bizarre thing, but I still can't bring myself at this moment in time to actually get into a proper intact T-shirt. Danish Bacon, nice to hear from you, mate. Well, Ian weather getting crappy in the UK now. You're excited now for your tropical escapade in the Balkans. To be honest with you, I haven't really thought about it. I mean, I'm going to be away for 4 months, and maybe a variety of countries. In terms of being excited, maybe it's because I've done that sort of thing many times before. I don't really feel excited. I mean, really, I'll feel better once I'm walking the yeah, the streets of Bangkok and Pattaya and places like that. I mean, right now, I just want to get I just want to get the flight out of the way, really. Yeah, that's when I'll feel better. But I can't say that really feel excited right now. Let's see. Mr. Pork Chop and Kidney Beans with whole tomatoes diner. Alan Hunter, as a doctor, the problem is your speed walk, not related to your arm movements. Try ease off on the walking head. Maybe, Alan. That could be, yeah, because about it was very, very severe at one time, but then was it last week sometime? About a week ago. I went on my exercise bike, and my legs seem to be fine for this moment in time. I got on my exercise bike for a couple of hours, not a problem. But when I started to do a walk afterwards, yeah, you are quite right. I mean, you don't just walk with your legs; you walk with your arms as well. And I couldn't get very far. So yeah, you could be right there. Ian Bowden, the steepness of that alleyway slope was the possible cause. Gravity probably caused a horrendous crush. Yeah, well, it was tragic, and my daughter, she's 153, and it could be the death toll might rise more. I mean, the only young teenagers out celebrating Halloween. I mean, Halloween is great, it's great fun, but I mean, I think the young people like it a bit more. It's probably a lot of fun for them, but it's just so tragic that a fun event like that could end so tragically. But it just made me think, really. Yeah, I mean, Jesus, if there was any kind of event going on in somewhere like Amsterdam, anyone who's been to Amsterdam around those alleyways, they are the narrowest of the narrow. There could easily be deaths there. Terry Jones, I remember Amsterdam in 2000 Euro Football Championships. Nearly a few crushes in them starts. Yeah, not surprised, mate. Not surprised. Mark Alec, nice to hear from you, Mark. Hope all's well, Mark. Nice to hear from you, mate. Yours Travels, D. Hallen is my favourite area in Amsterdam. It's a real locals area with loads of food market. D. Hallen, okay. I think the area that I'm thinking of is called D. Wallen. Maybe that's another area. Yeah, but there's plenty of good stuff in Amsterdam. Paul Loskin, I'm about to use my other arm and hand now. Good for you, mate. Good for you. Good for you. Oh, here we go. Gaz, nice to hear from you, Gaz. I'm off to the airport tomorrow to nick someone's plane ticket to Thailand. Better not be mine, mate. I'm looking out for you. Yeah. Anyone there who's wearing an Asda t-shirt, I'm going to be suspicious. Barry from EastEnders, I reckon you should auction off the rip shirt and donate the proceeds. That'll be an idea. That'll be an idea. Let's see. Russ Thomas, hi Eddie from Melbourne, Australia. I hope you're feeling better. I'm feeling a bit better now. I'm still aching, aching when I wake up. But the first day I'm keeping away from those tablets until I need them. I've got a few of them in reserve, but those codeine. Ian Bowden, have you given up on the pork pies nowadays? I haven't had a pork pie since, Jesus Christ, since the lockdown, I think. I mean, I love pork pies, but you've got to be realistic. You've got to be realistic. I have lost a little bit of weight. Now, in a week or so, when I'm in Bangkok, I want to weigh myself, because the last time I weighed myself was in Thailand at the beginning of it'll be 6 months ago, beginning of November. And I weighed the terrible weight of 16 stone 8. So it'll be interesting to see how much I've lost. I have definitely lost weight. I've still got a bit of a belly, but I've lost a bit of weight anyway. So it'll be interesting to see how much I've lost. Who's this? Terry Jones, edge his shoulder into will play havoc with your rumpy pumpy. David Coleman, Eddie, I just got it. How are you feeling? I'm feeling a little bit better, David. Nice to hear from you anyway. I'm slowly recovering. I mean, time's running out now. I'm at that stage now where, I'm thinking to myself, if I've done everything that I need to do, because I don't want to forget everything. I mean, I could pack my stuff within a few hours. That's not really a problem. but I don't want to forget him because last time I actually forgot the whatchamacallit, the the webcam. I forgot the webcam last week. Paul Loskin, I had a Melton Mowbray pork pie and Little, 30% off, only $1.39. Sounds lovely. Sounds lovely. El Terrifico, Eddie, you sound a bit stuffy tonight. Well, to be honest, I've only just woke up. I woke up, had a cup of coffee, and now I'm having a nice run. I think I'd like to say that I've eased off on the booze, not that much. Nice to hear from you anyway. Kiev Baum, new beer bar complex on Walking Street looks good. Well, I mean, I'll find all this out for myself pretty soon, but the videos I'm seeing, I mean, it looks like Pattaya is Walking Street is really, really picked up, and Walking Street is a very important part of Pattaya. I mean, it's very touristy, and a couple of years back, it became fashionable to knock Walking Street and say that that's all for Indian tourists and Chinese, and it's touristy and all that. At the end of the day, Walking Street in Pattaya is you get what you pay for. It's touristy and it's more expensive, but I would still maintain that the best live bands and the best entertainment overall is better in Walking Street than it is elsewhere in Pattaya. I still like Walking Street. David Coleman, Eddie, I wish I was going with you. Wow. Okay, well, you're welcome to, mate. You're welcome to. Let's see. Eddie, going to get in your case and go with you. It's not. No, I won't make that joke about people in suitcases. No, that's a bit of a. That was another dreadful event this week. That woman who murdered some lady, for financial gain, and then put her in a. She was filmed, dragging the body in a suitcase. It's become a bit of a sick world, hasn't it? Every bloody time I wake up and I switch on MSN, I see the most sickest bloody murders, and that whole world's going crazy. But Clem F1 race, hey Ed, I'm not looking forward to travelling to the Phils. Anything from 17 to 35 hours travelling time. There's no direct flights at the moment. Well, this is it. You see, I mean, in the past, you say 17 to 35 hours. I mean, if you add up all the traveling to the airport and waiting at airports, it probably could easily be 35 hours. All the bits and pieces. In the past, when I've said that it takes 30 hours for me to get to my home to my hotel in Pattaya or whatever, because it's 30 hours. It doesn't take 30 hours. The flight's only like 12 or 13 hours. Yeah, but you add up all the bits and pieces that go with it. It is 30 hours, I just want the nasty ordeal all over and done with. Yours Travels, my condo I booked is pretty close to Walking Street. Well, that's good because you're at the centre of the entertainment there. If you're interested in Soy Bacau, where a lot of people, a lot of guys like to go nowadays, it's busy, but it's less touristy than Walking Street. Soy Bacau is quite easy to get to. It's a bit out of the way of Walking Street, but you probably find it easy to get there. David Coleman, how will you get from Bangkok to Pattaya? I'll probably get a taxi because when I get off the airport at Savannah Bhumi, I'm not going straight to Pattaya. Usually I'd go downstairs and get a bus to Pattaya, but I'm not doing that now. I'm actually staying in Bangkok. In fact, when I think about it, I think since they built that Savannah Bhumi airport, which is about 15 years ago now, it's probably the first time I've ever got off the airport in Bangkok, Savannah Bhumi, and actually gone into Bangkok, because usually I go straight to Pattaya. But yeah, I'm staying in Bangkok for a while anyway. And when I'm in Bangkok, from the hotel, when I eventually go to Pattaya, I'll probably get a taxi. You can get a taxi for about probably about 1,500 baht, something like that. It's easy enough. Ian Bowden, so Brazil is ousted the toss to get voted in a corrupt ex-leader. Similar situation to British politics nowadays. Well, I haven't really followed much. I know it's happening, but you know what? Brazil was one of my favorite countries. That is a wonderful, wonderful country. I've traveled all over Brazil. and it's marvelous, and the people are fantastic, and it's so colourful, and it's got so much stuff. Brazil has probably got all the natural resources known to bloody mankind, and it could be a very, very wealthy country, and yet it's always suffered by corrupt people. It's always been put in the hands of corrupt governments and corrupt leaders, which is very, very sad. You know, it is very, very sad. I mean, I've been in, you know, Rio and places like that where, you know, you see luxury apartments one side and you see the bloody favelas on the other side. And it's all because of corruption, really. That's really, 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 really dreadful. It's a pity because Brazil should be, you know, it should be a very, very stable country, but it's the corrupt leaders who destroy the place. Each one seems to be worse than the last. Yourselves, David Cohen, I'm probably going to get a private car from Bangkok to Pattaya, as long as it's not over 1,500 baht. That's usually what it is, because, I mean, Savannah Bhumi is closer to Pattaya than the central of Bangkok is to Pattaya, because, and don't forget, if you're in central Bangkok, you have to, you know, you have to deal with the traffic getting out of the city and all of that. Whereas with Savannah Bhumi, you're already more or less out of the city. But yeah, from your hotel in Bangkok to Pattaya, 1,500 baht. That's quite reasonable. That I'm pretty sure you'll be able to get it for that. David Coleman, Jesus said, you don't talk about murders on this channel. Okay. Mark, do you use Grab? No, I've never used Grab. I have used Bolt in Thailand, but they can be good, but they can also be very, very unreliable as well. Terry Jones, did you sort out your travel insurance yet? If so, how much? I haven't sorted out yet. I've got to do that. It probably won't take long to do it, but you know, that's the one thing that I've got to do before I'll leave. You know, soon. Yourselves, I'm flying direct to Singapore, 4 nights there and then quick flight to Bangkok. Well, that sounds all right. I've never been to Singapore. I've heard that it's quite expensive, but some people like it. Some people like it. Good for you anyway, mate. Kiki and Jasmine on the Trail of Love. Cathay Pacific look very risky now. They said they were flying through Russian airspace. No thanks. No, well, that's what Malaysian Airways did, you know, a few years ago. Because don't forget the conflict between with Ukraine and Russia was going back a few years, and Malaysian Airways actually flew over what was a designated war zone, and it was blown out the sky. So yeah, you got to consider that. 88, nice to see you getting better. Hopefully you'll be 100% for them ladies. I'm always 100% for them ladies, believe me. Let me see now. Let me see. Okay. Woofy nuns, loads of Indians currently in Pattaya. Well, as long as if they spend the money, then that's all to the good. I've got nothing against the Indians. Ian Bowden, I was hoping that time may have reinstated their defunct A380s for the new winter roster, but today I noticed that at work, because where Ian works at Heathrow Airport, today I noticed the Thai is still flying. It's 777. Well, the way I see it is, as long as it's a comfortable airline, and it goes from A to B. That's all that I need. Let's see, David Cohen. People say it takes more time and money to take a cab into the city. They say the train is the best, faster. I've never taken a train from Bangkok to Pattaya. I'm not even sure how that works. I've taken a bus from there, but I'm not actually sure how that works. Capo 17, Brazil completely split down the middle now, not good for stability. I know that's absolutely dreadful because it's such a wonderful country as well, and they're destroyed by corruption. S Travels 4K. Good evening, gentlemen. Oh, you recovered, Ed. Like your video in the desert of Bolivia. When was that taken? That was taken 2010. That's 12 years ago. There's another one which I'm uploading of Machu Picchu, and that's coming out soon. Soon. So I've been digging up what it is. I had all these things on a DVD, and I used it on my old laptop, and I got a bit of a rough and ready editing system. So I managed to. I just thought I'd put them out anyway. The reason I'm putting those out is that my other channel is a travel channel, and people want to know where I've traveled to in the past. So I thought it'd be useful. S Travels 4K has done some great videos, by the way. I loved this video on Barcelona the other day. Absolutely wonderful, lovely, epic journey around and spectacular journey walking around Barcelona. So S Travels 4K, well worth checking out. Well worth checking out. David Coleman, Ed, you're going to meet a woman online this trip. I'm not even thinking of that now. But maybe. But I mean, I'm not even thinking. I just want to get there and just crash out in a hotel room right now. Johnny Bailey just messaged to us when you were back on. Great to see you, Steady. How are the preparations going along? The preparations is suspiciously quiet. I mean, I'm at that stage now, and I'm thinking to myself, well, just about done everything except for the insurance. I really don't do much else. But at the last minute, there's always something that comes up. No, I'll be all right. I'll be good to go. Nice to hear from you, Johnny. Ross Cook. Hi, Ed. I'm lucky it takes 10 hours from leaving my house in Perth to checking in at the Eureka Lodge. That's good. That's good. Good for you, mate. Good for you. Good for you. What's this? What's this? It's looking like it's full of Indians now. They all want four of them. They all want four of them and one girl. I don't think there's anything new about that, mate. That's been said for many, many years. Yours Travels, David Coleman, I've downloaded Line app. I've sorted two girls in Pattaya for 24 hours each one, but I've had a few videos with them. Yours is prepared. Yours is prepared. Yeah, Jesus Christ, yours is prepared. I'm not online yet. Maybe I better get online. I tried to get on it, but it was being awkward, so I sort of abandoned it. But well, sounds like you've got it all sussed out there, mate. Anyway. Hi, Johnny. Johnny, I said, how the preparations come along? Itinerary sorted. It's all more or less sorted. Yeah, all more or less. It's as sorted as it needs to be. It's all. There's nothing. There's nothing revolutionary about this travel. There's nothing that I haven't done before. So, so yeah, it looks like it's all good to go, and it's going to be happening pretty soon. I was getting physical with a Filipina and got a stitch. Hadn't one of them since cross country at school. Maybe you used to get stitches. Is it only young people who get them stitches? When you run and all of a sudden you get a stitch in your bloody side. Is it only young people who get them? I've had one of them for years. Michael Gineas, nice to hear from you. 7 weeks for me, Bangkok and Pattaya. Never been Pattaya before, first time. Well, good for you, mate. If you've never been there before, Pattaya is like a movie which a lot of us have seen many, many times, and the more you see it, the more it wears off. But if you've never been there before, it could well be quite a magical experience for you. Go to Walking Street, and start off with Walking Street, and that's as good a place as any. Good for you, mate. Terry Jones, Ed, will you be interviewing anyone while you're there? Random Munger interview would be interesting, or even interview anyone from here who's in Thailand same time as you. I don't know. I haven't got any plans for videos. All I know is that I'm going to be out there, see what happens. I'll be bringing with the prices of stuff, whether it's gone up or whether it's gone down or whatever. But it seems to me that since I was last in Thailand, which wasn't that long ago, things are changing in terms of prices. Don't forget, this peak season coming up is going to be the first proper peak season for 3 years. 3 years since they last had a proper peak season. So, it's bound to be the case that something's going to have changed. McLaren F1 race, every year when it's the Brazilian Grand Prix or another race team gets robbed en route to Interlagos in Sao Paulo. Dodgy place, Sao Paulo. I've driven through, well, I've been on a bus going through Sao Paulo, but I didn't really hear amazing reports about it. Apparently it's some say it's an exciting city, but if you've got lots of money, it's not a place for the casual traveller to go, and it doesn't have the the character of Rio. So I never really bothered much with that. Woofy nuns. There's been stories of Indian men taking girls back to the hotel room, and they're 14 of them mates. Touch meringue, only 14. I'm glad you said that. Danish bacon, all 14 of them sharing the water. Oh, good for you. Look, Darren Jarman, even though you're looking better, if I'm honest, it's been a while since I last tuned in. Have you touched on the recent increase in bar fines, ST and LT? Well, no, I haven't, because I'm not there yet. I don't know the script yet. So, I'm not there. I mean, pretty soon. It'll take a while to get, but I think it's well documented already. I mean, the thing is, there's a couple of channels, and I don't mind giving them a shout out. There's a couple of channels that are really, especially if you've never been to Pattaya before, there's a couple of really, really good channels out there. One of them is Everything Pattaya. This guy with a sort of sounds like an oldish voice. He's probably younger than me, but he goes around on a motorbike and he reviews condos, and he very, very explicitly gives prices out for bar fines and all this kind of stuff. And Everything Pattaya is a really, really good channel. And another one that I like watching a lot is David Strachan Pattaya. I do like watching that channel. He goes around on his bike and he films the stuff that the others don't dare film, and he gets away with it. And a lot of his stuff. So David Strachan Pattaya and Everything Pattaya, it's well documented now that everything's got more expensive, especially if you're a guy looking for the ladies. Sandra Taylor, I heard they get the trips and the business they work like a bones for it. And so, yeah, you're talking about the Indians and the soapies. I've heard that as well. I've heard that, a lot of the Indians are in the soapies, which are quite expensive. But so how do they pay for that? Well, apparently they don't pay for it. It's their call center back in India that pays for them. Jesus Christ, I wish someone would pay for me to have a soapy. Danish bacon, Everything Pattaya is the Attenborough of the genre. It sounds like it as well. He's good though. He is good. Ian Bowden, it's easy for us to talk about things we've heard through mainstream media, but how true is everything that we read? Oh, what did I just have a look at on MSN? I think it was on MSN a moment. A few days ago, Jerry Lee Lewis, the legendary Jerry Lee Lewis, the rocker, Great Balls of Fire, died at 87 years of age. Yes, and it was on the news and everything. And I've just heard it's something on saying that he's not dead. That was fake news. He's not dead. All kinds of bizarre bloody things. Yours travels. I like David and his bike rides and also his food channel. I think it's about David Strachan. Yeah, absolutely. I've been watching a few of his videos recently, and his camera work is really, really good. See, the thing is, he doesn't have monetization on his channel, because this is the problem, you see. I mean, I on my other channel, I have monetization. I've got that channel to quite a lot of level. It would gut me if I became to monetize for any reason. So I do have to be careful. But it's the guys who don't worry about monetization or anything. They're the ones who can do things that the rest of us can't do. And yeah, he's good. Dan and John, yeah, I've seen into everything Pattaya. Yes, very informative. Let's see, Ed Sweeney, 20 stone wide. All your phone scam money pays for the soapies. Yeah, it's nice to know where the money's going to. Pinball. David Strachan's bike vlogs are demonetized. Yes, he deliberately been. I heard that he just doesn't bother. It seems to me that he just doesn't bother monetizing his channel. Really. Let's see. Bend over. Take the air rail link from the airport to Sukhumvit. 45 Thai baht a half hour. Okay. I am tilt. I wouldn't want to be number 14. I think you're talking about the number of Indians. The number of Indians gone with the Thai girls. Anyway, squeaky door time. Back in a minute, and with a couple of big questions. Oh. Yo. Oh, lovely stuff. Beautiful, beautiful. Oh, lovely. Don't worry. When this runs out, I've got another bottle. Got another bottle in the cupboard. Okay, where are we now? Pinball. Jerry Lee Lewis has passed away. It was faking news a couple of days earlier that he had. Yours travels. He doesn't bother on that channel. David just has memberships and donations for that channel. Yeah, okay. Yeah, let's see now. Natural in the buff Vietnamese lady. I can see Ed ending up with an Indian woman. I've been there and done that. Been there, never again. David Coleman, when I go, I want to make videos right from the start at the airport in Toronto, then put on YouTube like you. I think people like watching stuff like that. You know, people like. I'll be doing a video from the travel, but it'll be a lot more cheerful video than the one that I'd done early this year because that was really quite depressing. I mean, having to go through all that PCR rubbish and all this kind of stuff. This is going to be a lot more cheerful, you know. So. Absolutely, you know, but yeah, I mean, people do like watching that sort of stuff, and it's informative as well. I mean, that video I put out at the beginning of this year when I was traveling from, from where I lived to Bangkok. It went on for nearly an hour, and it was bloody depressing. But then it was a very, very depressing time. I'm just looking forward to making a more cheerful one this time. Let's see. Johnny B. Are you on the Bourbon Ed? No, it's the Lambs Navy run. Okay. S Travels 4K. So what's your recommendations on Netflix? Really enjoyed it. Any other recommendations? Well, I have seen a couple of good movies on Netflix. So I was a little bit sleepy. I could have done that tonight, but I might well do that on Thursday night. I know that's the Travel Channel, but I might just come up with something like that on Thursday night anyway, because there will be a live stream then. So I have seen a few good movies. I like that one. What did I? That one. What was it called? Triple Frontier. That's a very good film. Ian Bowden, Michael Palin is my favorite travel vlogger, followed by Michael Portillo. You're my third favorite. Oh, all right. Well, I take that as a big compliment then. Michael Palin was wonderful. I mean, he after Monty Python, he sort of reinvented himself. And his series was absolutely wonderful, wasn't it? I was actually ahead of Michael Palin, though, I was ahead. And I'll tell you what I was ahead, because Michael Palin was making those around the world in 80 days videos from the 1980s onwards. And he made various, and one of the series that he done was in South America. And he made that at some point. But about 12 years ago, I was in a hotel room in Brazil, and I woke up and I was watching, and I had the BBC channel on the news. This was about 12 years ago. And I seen an interview with Michael Palin, an up-to-date interview with Michael Palin. And he was given an interview, and the interviewer said to him, is there anywhere that you've never been that you'd like to go? And Michael Palin said, I'm not making this up, Michael Palin said, I would like to go to Brazil. I thought, really? I'm in Brazil right now at this moment in time, and I was seeing Michael Palin. And it turns out he had done South America, but he'd never actually done Brazil. So he did Brazil later on. So I actually did Brazil before Michael Palin, believe it or not. Okay, a couple of little videos to come. But there's one on Peru that I am in the process of uploading to the other channel that you might be interested in. Thanks for that anyway. As for Michael Portillo, I think Michael Portillo would have made a good prime minister. I like Michael Portillo. He was on that program this week with Andrew Neil. And what I like about Portillo is that, whatever anyone else, comments on a topic, a topical subject, somehow Michael Portillo's comments always seem to make more sense than other people's. So I like Michael Portillo. David Coleman, guys, I'm going to get a new GoPro, but do I need a drone for Thailand? Some of the videos that are being made are so beautiful. Yeah, I've never had a drone. Some people use drones, and some of those drone shots are wonderful. But let me tell you, if you're vlogging, I think they're a bit overrated, because a lot of drone shots look really spectacular. But after about 20 seconds or so, you can quickly get bored with drone shots. So I wouldn't really go over the top with that if I was you. But it's up to you, mate. It's up to you. Let's see. Just for you need license to fly in some areas of Thailand. Yeah, it gets a little bit common. I think there's a lot to be said for keep it simple, Yours travels, David Coleman. I was thinking of doing vlogs as well, but not going to. It takes too much time out of my travel. I might do an odd one or two. I have one on my channel. Yeah. It does take a little, but once you get into the swing of things, it's kind of becomes. See, the thing is with the vlogs that you're doing, there's a lot to be said for keep it simple. I mean, I have videos on my list on my other channel which I've spent hours editing and meticulously editing. And, they've got a lukewarm reception. Whereas I've done some amazingly simple videos, which have got a lot more views than what I expected. So there's a lot to be said for simplicity, really. Johnny Bay, what will be the first thing you do when you hit Bangkok? Oh, where was staying in Bangkok? Whatever. I'm arriving there at not a bad time. First thing, I'll probably get in a hotel, have a shower, go out for a quick bed and a meal, and then crash out. No, I always say this, but sometimes sometimes the adrenaline keeps you going. Keeps you going. So even though you haven't slept on the airplane, you've had a rough journey. The excitement of being in a place like that. All of a sudden, and you think I'm just going to go out for an hour, and you end up being out for about 5 hours. But I'm just looking forward to being there. Capo 17, Turkey forbids you bringing a drone. You must buy one there. Ugh. Turkey's the only country where somebody got angry with me because I had a GoPro strapped to my chest. And it only occurs to me I was actually walking in an area which is notorious for wongas. The wongas were there with their young Turkish gigolos, so it didn't make me popular. That's it. Adventures Around the World. Human Centipede is a good movie. Gets you in the mood for Bangkok. Really, never heard of that one. Yours, I was going to buy the new DJI Mini Pro 3, but very expensive. I haven't bought any new cameras for my upcoming. I think the ones that I've got, there's still a lot of life left in them. Yeah, there is a lot of life left in them. Legan. Hi, I just watched your girl Caroline Munro in Dracula AD 1972 on TCM. Thank God those girls back then didn't go on. Oh, I know. Oh, my God. It's a controversial issue, but, Caroline Munro, oh, my God, absolutely gorgeous woman. Here's a drink to Caroline Munro, a Lamb's Navy rum. Lovely stuff. Now, I want to ask a question. Okay? But before I ask a question, there's some good little comments on here. Adventures Around the World. Portillo would have been a great leader. I would have supported Portillo. I thought he was good. Ian Bowden, not trying to be controversial, but do you agree with Suella Braverman's ideology? But is she full of crap like Patel was? Suella Braverman has been a naughty girl. Let's just say that much. I don't want to say too much, but it sounds to me like she's been a bit of a bloody naughty girl. Andy Baker, enjoyed watching your Bolivia video earlier. That was a simple but good video. Yeah, I thought I'd just, I'm actually quite pleased that I managed to upload. Now, most people wouldn't be interested in those old South American stuff, especially when they're filmed on a cheap and nasty camcorder. But cheap and nasty camcorder. But the fact is, I was actually quite pleased that I've got them on DVD to upload, but I had to do it on my old laptop. And that one was only a little video, but the one that I'm uploading, and it should be coming out, either tonight or tomorrow on Machu Picchu. I think that will be a bet. There's other stuff there that's where it's. The reason I'm uploading them is that they're in the library, and people often ask me, what kind of travel have you done in the past? So even if most people are not really interested, there will be some people who will be interested in it. So thanks for that anyway. Terry Jones, try and do a few food reviews. Everyone loves a good food review, especially breakfast places, okay? I've even got my own catchphrase for food reviews. Bloody good, okay? Ian Bowden, do you like the hustle and bustle of Bangkok's Chinatown? Yeah, I enjoyed that. I went to Bangkok's Chinatown early this year, didn't I? Only problem is with the idea of street food. I can't kind of get to grips with street food. A lot of it's very, very tasty, but I like to sit down and have a meal. And the problem with Chinatown, is that there were no chairs to sit down. I don't want to eat food while I'm standing up. But yeah, it's well worth a visit. As you should get insured sooner rather than later, as if anything goes wrong before your travels, you will be covered. Okay, thank you for that. Yours Travels, he's got it all worked out. Land in Bangkok, go check into a hotel, get a 1 hour, 2,000 happy massage with a stunner, and then a meal and drinks and explore, then cry. He's got it all sussed out, mate. That's it. I mean, and that's just for starters. That's just for starters. Good for you, mate. You got good for you, Yoz. Good for you, mate. I'm sure. Sounds wonderful. Capo 17 KGB loves Sue Ella. Okay. Danish bacon burger reviews, please, Eddie. Burger. Do you know what? I'm not a fan of burgers. Sometimes I get a fairly exceptional one. I did have an exceptional one in Koh Tao, and I done a little video on it. A place. It was the tattoo bar or one of them early this year, and the guy. Wow, his burgers were absolutely wonderful. But when you get a big high-calorie burger, I was watching Harold Balder's latest video in Mexico. And he's he was served a burger and it didn't go down well. I thought, why would anyone want to eat that? If I would only eat a burger if I really thought I'm going to enjoy this. But there's nothing worse than eating a meal, especially a big high-calorie meal, and afterwards you feel you just didn't enjoy that. You did I just didn't. Why did I eat that? There's nothing worse than that. So burgers are very, very hit and miss, really. Yeah, David Heisenberg, not bad, but Bernie Winters is better. It's been a long since we've done this, but the worst catchphrase since time began from Bernie Winters. If you don't know what I mean, go and Google Mike and Bernie Winters, the worst comedy duo from the 70s. David Coleman, Eddie, you skipped over my stuff. I didn't actually, did I? Ed Fancy Around the World, 25 minutes, 320 calories is my workout watching your live chat. You inspired me to get fit. Good for you, mate. Good for you. David, yeah, I can still go on my exercise bike. It's a doddle, really. It's actually one of the best kept secrets. When I go on my exercise bike while I'm watching all my favorite YouTube videos, and to actually do that for 2 hours. If you're going to sit, rather than sit in front of the TV, why not be on your exercise bike for a couple of hours? And it works wonders. Keeps you active. That's the best little discovery I've made in recent times. David Coleman, I made a few little videos when I was at Machu Picchu. Oh, okay. Machu Picchu, well, I've actually dug up. I was actually uploading it this evening, but I'm uploading it on an older laptop, which is slower than this current one that I'm on now. So I haven't probably done it. I might just get that out later tonight. You never know. McLaren F1 is Eddie. I keep posting to the wrong place. I posted 2 comments by missus now, and she's curious to who Ed is. I'm so Imagine this Filipino missus. Who's Ed? Who's Ed? Who is this person? You need to tell me who is this person. Yours travels. What was that burger bar called in Koh Tao? I'm doing 4 nights on that island. It might have been called a tattoo. If you go back to my video list, it is there on the list. It is there. And the guy who runs it, and is he an Australian guy? Very, very good guy. I filmed it on that burger, and I really, really mean it, man. I really mean it. That burger is worth investigating. It was lovely. And I'm not a big fan of burgers, but that was absolutely beautiful. Lovely stuff. It is there it might have been called a tattoo. Bar. It's overlooking the beach, but I have done a video of it, so you will get the name from there. Let's see, David Coleman. Eddie should have got a new tattoo in Thailand. Well, I've never had one personally, so I'm not the best guy to ask for that. Listen, I'm going to do a big question right now. This is the big question, and relates to Halloween. Okay, it does relate to a little bit of Halloween. So this big question that I'm going to ask, it's a question that is not really so topical today, but it used to be very, very, very topical. Very topical. Okay. Now, the other night, aside from the dreadful things that happened in Halloween, in Korea and all, the tragic thing with those young people being crushed. to death. That was truly dreadful. But aside from that, the other night I was looking through Netflix, Amazon, and all this kind of stuff, and there's quite a lot of Halloween style movies out there. And I thought, a bit of late night brain dead entertainment. I usually like stuff like that. Not the most intelligent stuff, but I do usually like stuff like that. So I seen a movie. I think it was on Netflix. Let me just have another swig of this. I think it was on Netflix, and it was Scream 4. It was Scream 4. And this is a Wes Craven. Now, Wes Craven, I think Wes Craven's brilliant. I like old horror movies. I think Wes Craven's a bit of a master of the genre. He was really, really great, very talented. I think he's dead now, Wes Craven. But any film made by Wes Craven is worth checking out. People Under the Stairs, Nightmare, the original Nightmare now. Terrific, great filmmaker. And I noticed Scream 4 was made by Wes Craven. I've seen the first one a few years ago. Scream 4. I'm not sure what's this. Why not? It's got Wes Craven's name attached to it. So why the hell not? Okay. So I switched on Scream 4, this Wes Craven movie. And I watched it, and a little bit confusing at the beginning. But basically, the premise of this movie is that this guy, in such a ghoulish mask, goes around stabbing to death these very, very glamorous young teenagers, girls mainly. He goes around stabbing these young girls, beautiful young girls, in the chest. And I watched about 20 minutes of it, and I maybe because I'm different now, I see things differently. I'm older now, and I thought, what the hell is this? What the hell is this? This is a film about a serial killer, and it's done in a kind of a jokey way about stabbing young girls, young teenagers to death. I mean, what am I watching this for? This is terrible. This isn't funny. It's not entertainment. This is an absolutely truly dreadful thing. And it made me think. Now, years ago, I would have watched something like that, but it made me think. I mean, about, do these kind of things spark copycat? Do they actually spark? Is some sicko, some young person who's a bit sick and I'm going to watch this movie and think, oh, that looks like fun. I'm going to try that. So the question is, I'm going to Okay, so the question is, this is a question that is not really a topical one in this day and age, surprisingly, but it used to be very, very topical in the 70s. And I'll explain exactly what I mean. The question is, do violent films incite people to violent acts in real life? This is the question. Okay? This is the question. Yourselves, okay. What was the answer to that? Yourselves, yeah, he was an Aussie. Definitely going to give it a try. We'll go back and watch it. Yeah, absolutely. He was a good guy. Good, and a burger. That burger is beautiful. Absolutely beautiful. Absolutely beautiful. Ian Bowden, Eddie, with all respect, have you ever thought of purchasing a silicon doll? They cost a bit, but apparently they're a good version of the real thing without the moaning and whinging. If they're the way forward, you never know. Okay, Capo, there was a YouTuber named Rick who gave an LB a lick. She quietly sat, demanded 3,000 baht, saying, I don't do anything on sick. Like it. But Clan F1's one race. Who's the Prime Minister next week? Mr. Bean, probably. David Eisenberg, Eddie, how was your arm? I hope much better. It is better, but it's still not perfect. Let's see. Yours Travels, Scream, they're more comedy than horror. Yeah, they are a bit comic. And Wes Craven is a generally talented filmmaker. Anything with the name of Wes Craven, I will watch that. But I've seen this film in a way that I've never actually watched a movie like that before. The premise of this horror is this sicko goes around with a mask and stabs, young girls in the chest with a knife. And I thought, well, that's not horror. That's just bloody sick. That is. So let's see. Adventures around the world. Screen 4 sounds like a casual night out in London. Let's see. Capo 17 all started with snuff films in the 80s. No, I think violent movies have been around for the time. Now, the reason I say this, I am told Silence of the Lambs, thought it was a sick movie, couldn't understand why people liked it. I must have been when Silence of the Lambs came out in 1991. It was a sensation, and it was a genuinely great movie. It wasn't. I thought it was a great movie, and Anthony Hopkins was absolutely sensational. But I must admit, my own personal opinion, that Anthony Hopkins is a very, very talented actor, and that really that really elevates him to be one of the greatest actors in the world. But I must admit, whenever I see that actor in more recent time, I actually don't like him. I think he's a bit of a bore. He's waffles on. I think he's a bit of a bore, to be honest with you. Sandra Taylor, Eddie, I think you would either that way or not. I don't know what you mean, but it sounds good. Listen, David Cooper, sorry again, I don't understand why people watch horror movies. I mean, I love watching horror movies when I was a kid, partly because I like castles and I like Ingrid Pitt and Madeline Smith and Caroline Monroe, all of those beautiful, glamorous women who were in the horror movies that I used to watch. And I was brought up on some wonderful horror movies. As a kid, I used to stay up late at night to watch Witchfinder General, stuff, wonderful horror movies when I was a kid. But when I watched this, Wayne Carey's got the answer. The answer is no. Do violent films incite people to violent acts in real life? Now, the reason I'm asking this is because it's not topical. This surprisingly, it's not topical. This question, but if you go back to the 1970s, it was very, very, very topical. This was actually a debate that was forever running throughout the 1970s on TV chat shows, and I'll tell you why it was forever running. Right, in the late 1960s, all of a sudden you had the rise of the X certificates. I mean, in the 60s, before that, 40s, 50s, 60s, you had family entertainment. But in the late 60s, all of a sudden, adult movies, X certificates as they were known, became popular. All of a sudden, the cinema started releasing its laws on sex and violence. You could show, all of a sudden, you could show things in the cinema, on a cinema screen that you couldn't show before. And what became really popular from the late 60s onwards were films like, Bonnie and Clyde, The Wild Bunch, stuff like that, even The Dirty Dozen. They started getting more and more violent. And as these movies got more and more violent, these films were all X certificates, Dirty Harry. These were X certificate movies, which showed explicit, sort of explicit violence. They quickly caught on that they were a winner. The public wanted to see violent movies. Violent movies. And family entertainment went out the window. People wanted to see X certificate movies with violence, and the more violence you showed them, the more if a film was notoriously violent, then it was all the better at the box office. That's the way things were. But it started sparking up a lot of debate in the 70s because films were getting really violent, and the debate was this one, what I'm showing you here: do violent films incite people to violent acts in real life? And then something like Straw Dogs came along, which had some very, very violent scenes in it, and these were. What filmmakers discovered is that if they made really violent movies, it was a box office winner. And that's why family entertainment went out the window and violent movies just were very, very much the end thing in the late 60s throughout the 70s. But I think it came to a head. I think it came to a head with A Clockwork Orange. That was a bit of a watershed, that movie, because that film, which had gang violence, glamorized gang violence. I think it led to the death of a homeless man. I think a gang kicked to death a homeless man because of after seeing that film A Clockwork Orange, and that the director of that movie, Stanley Kubrick, withdrew that film. He withdrew it simply because the censors were demanding cuts in that film, which he wasn't prepared to do. And throughout the 1970s, it was a popular debate, even on TV, when we had programs, even TV programs started getting more violent. Programs like The Sweeney and other before that you had things like Z Cars and Softly. All of a sudden, you had bloody John Thorpe wielding a baseball bat, and everything. And people, those of you who are old enough to remember Mary Whitehouse, she was always the one demanding that violent movies and sex and violence was banned and all. So this actually became a very, very topical issue in the 70s. But strangely enough, it doesn't seem to be a topical one nowadays. And yet, in recent times, I think there have been films which have incited violence in real life. Terry Jones. Yes, I think they do incite it, Ed, but only like one person in 2 million. I mean, Al Bowes, wasn't there a guy and this is a horrible subject, a few years ago, wasn't there a guy with a bloody machine gun who went into a theatre? He watched a Batman movie, and he went into a theatre spraying bullets at people. And he said something about don't forget, in the early 1980s, around about 1980, the guy who shot Ronald Reagan, I believe he was inspired by that film Taxi Driver with Robert De Niro. He was inspired by that movie to go and commit a terrible act. So the idea that violent movies have nothing to do with it, I don't know. I think there've been instances where they do have something to do with it. Yours travels, no, they don't. People who commit them violent crimes would do them crimes with violent movies or not. There's been violent movies since the 80s. Gangster movies are more violent. Scarface. Fair enough. I mean, but it was a debate. I mean, some thought they had nothing to do with it, and some thought that they did. But I think there have been cases where people have committed violent acts, like the ones that I've just, given you an example of. And when they're being questioned about why they commit these violent acts, they have said, the guy who shot Reagan and the Clockwork Orange incident, and there have been cases of it. David Coleman, as you get older, you stop watching stupid stuff like horror movies. I think with me, I go the other way around. Years ago, I used to be a really hardcore film fan. I used to know a lot about movies, and I used to watch thought-provoking, intelligent movies. I wouldn't watch escapists. I wouldn't watch anything like that. I'd watch thought-provoking, intelligent movies. But I've kind of gone backwards. Don't forget, when I watch a movie, it's usually in the early hours of the morning when I've had a few beers, and I can't watch anything intelligent anymore. I have to watch something that's deliberately brain dead. Really, that's the way that I am. Jet Hopper. I like Wolf Creek's horror type movies, but it doesn't make me want to do it. Okay. Let's see. Kiki and Jasmine would say, I love. The media's obsession with Ted Bundy inspired a whole generation of serial killers in the United States. Gacy, Ridgway, Dahmer, the list goes on and on. It goes on and on. I heard a lot of people mention this series Dahmer. I don't want to watch something like that. I really don't want to watch it. I mean, serial killer, that's something I don't want to watch. I would find them too depressing, really. I can watch stuff like that if it's done in a comic, kind of brain dead sort of way. But if it's done, I've just said a moment ago, you have to look at the time that I watch movies. I watch them in the early hours of the morning when I've had a few beers and a few Caroline Monroes and whatever. And I have to watch something that's deliberately brain dead. Let's see. Sandra Taylor, I was answering the question. What question was it, Sandra? What was it again? Let's see. What question was it? Can't seem to find it, Sandra. Can't seem to find it, Sandra. But I'm sure it was good. Good anyway. Good anyway. Okay, Ian Bound. So much blasé violence in films nowadays, Eddie. People get used to it all, and carrying a knife or gun seems a normal thing to do for many. Well, that's a different subject, isn't it? I mean, carrying a knife or gun seems a normal in certain communities. Carrying a knife or a gun, there are certain yeah, there are certain communities where knife. Well, it's a dreadful subject, but it's a dreadful subject. But I mean, really, when I watch this film, and I love Wes Craven. I think Wes Craven is a very very talented filmmaker. God bless him. But when I watch this, I mean, it's such an unimaginative horror. The horror of this is this creep with a mask on. It was stabbing all these beautiful young people to death with a knife. I mean, what kind of event? Who would want to watch that? I mean, I probably watched something like that years ago, but that's not what I want to watch. That's not what I want to watch. Robert Jones used to stay up late to watch Boris Karloff. Boris Karloff, what a character he was. What a character. Yeah, in fact, my neighbour bought me a knife when I was 8 years old. There were carrots everywhere and sharpened sticks. It's not the movies, it's the parents that are the issue. Yeah, but it was your neighbour who bought you the knife. Are you sure your neighbour didn't like your parents very much? Think about it. Okay, let's see. Bend over. No, check out the Texas Chainsaw Massacre. Now that's a psychological masterpiece. I must admit, I actually like the remake of the Texas Chainsaw Massacre. I actually did enjoy that, but the remake, I actually like that better than the early ones. I am chills. I think some violent movies can warp the minds of weak people. Weak people, absolutely. Did I hear? Did I hear when I was very, very young that I'm sure I heard something that Batman, the old Adam West series of Batman, which was probably in the 60s, was removed from the TV for some years because there were kids who were watching it and thought that they could bloody jump off roofs and everything, like Batman did. I seem to recall something like that. Frederick, it seems to be social media that is causing people to commit violence. Well, I mean, people are violent anyway, but it's yeah. I've never heard of a social. Well, well, I don't know. That's the modern debate. It used to be ex-certificate movies, but now it's you blame social media. Capo 17, The Exorcist still has impact today. Exorcist was wonderful. I'd say the best quote I ever heard. Well, I seen The Exorcist when I was 14 years old. I clicked into a movie to say, and the thing about The Exorcist, the best quote I ever heard about, review I ever heard about The Exorcist, somebody once said, I felt it was one of the best movies ever, simply because it achieved all that it set out to achieve. And basically what The Exorcist set out to achieve was to frighten the life out of its audience. And I've never, ever seen a film that has achieved it in that way. Absolutely amazing. Absolutely amazing. Happy. Who remembers Rollerball? I remember Rollerball. Rollerball, I think it was 1974, wasn't it? James Caan movie made by Norman Jewison, that film. I think that was a classic case of a really great idea for a movie that was wasted on a director who was wrong for that film. That was a great story. It was a great idea for a movie, this violent, futuristic sport. A great idea, a really, really great idea. But the director was wrong for that film. It just came across as a very, very bland, slow, sluggish, unexciting movie. So very disappointing, that one. The Clan F1 race, Straw Dogs. 12 Indians with a pint in soy 6. Okay. David Coleman, look at all the people getting stabbed to death in the UK. Yeah. I mean, when you turn on the bloody news and even domestics, parents and God, it's some of the news that comes out is absolutely sickening. I think if anything, it is not so much. It is not so much filmed that incite people to violence. I think what can often incite people to violence is the fact that we have such lenient sentences nowadays. People know that they're going to go to prison for not many years and probably get all the bloody comforts in prison. So I think that's more of an issue, really. People know that there's not much justice in this world. Yeah, yes, 17. Capo 17, there's a new Exorcist on the pictures now. Going to watch it this week. I watched the movie Smile the other week. I haven't seen that one. Capo 17, the film If with Malcolm McDowell was hard hitting. Yeah, that was a weird and wonderful movie, I seem to recall. I haven't Silk. The lift scene in the film Drive was just shocking, yet required for the movie. I don't believe I've seen that movie. Clockwork Orange was also inspired Juby's Fade Ultras, the druggy, crazy Ultras. I don't think I've seen those ones. Let's see. Mark Hollick. No, I saw Texas Chainsaw Massacre in '74. I didn't grab my McCulloch and go out to crowds of people. McCulloch, is that your maybe a change? I must admit, I don't know if you ever seen that 60s movie, Belly Liar, which was which is based on a Walter Mitty kind of. It was a British kitchen sink drama, but it was. I think Tom Courtney was in it, which is based on a Walter Mitty kind of story. But it's wonderful. He's having an argument with some people in a restaurant. As he walks out, all of a sudden he said, with a machine gun. I'm sure many of us have felt like that. You'd be in the situation, horrible people around. You think, I wish I had a bloody chainsaw. You cow the bastards. Oh. Ed Ventures. Anyone remember the TV series? It must specifically the I'd Do Anything to Get on TV segment. Pube Savages. Oh, I think that was that program called The Word, wasn't it? In the 1990s with Teddy Chris. Teddy Chris, didn't he have a Manchester accent? He loved talking about his Manchester accent. That was called The Word, that was. I remember that one. That was a good show, that. Frank Travels, Edward Woodward, The Equalizer, pure 1980s TV van. I didn't watch that. I go back earlier than that. I remember Edward Woodward when he was in Callan, a private detective series for the 1970s. I don't think I actually watched that. Let's see now. Mark, I watched Jeffrey Dahmer, but don't go around chopping gays into pieces and eating. See, I don't want to watch that. I don't really want to watch anything like that. I know I'm repeating myself. I don't repeat myself, but in the hours late at night, I can't be watching stuff like that. Let's see. Sandra Taylor, Eddie, it is very windy there. It is here, and I don't mean me talking about the weather. Okay, please yourself. Mark Holland, Hinckley wanted to impress Jodie Foster, is why he shot Ray. So yeah, so in other words, I know what you mean. This is, I do think this was a case of a movie. I mean, the film Taxi Driver was one of the greatest films of all time. I still maintain to this day it's Martin Scorsese's greatest movie. Wonderful. But you know, it's what you know why. You know, he shot. It can be said that that movie inspired him, you know, Hingley to commit that act, really. So, absolutely. So, I do think there's got to be got to be something in it, really. I do think, you know, people who you know watch these, it's not that it puts violence in them, but that it triggers them off. In another way, in other words. I am tilt. I remember the awful Jamie Ball kids. The kids that did this were just, yeah, they were evil. Yeah, they were evil. I was brought up there. Don't forget. So yeah, I know. Yeah, I know. Yeah, that was dreadful. That was really dreadful. Let's see. Okay, David Coburn. Now England is drag queen story time for kids. That is real. Now England has drag queen story time for kids. That's real. Okay. I mean, let me see. Okay. Let's see. Adventures around the world. Loving your stabbing action, Ed. Look suspicious. Okay. 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 Really? Really? Fredericks. I don't remember any blowback from Hitchcock's Psycho. No, no. I mean, that was 1960. Even today, that could still come across as quite a powerful movie. But it was later in the that was 1960. That film. It was probably very very shocking at the time if you watched that in 1960. But it was at the end of the 60s. I think with films like Bonnie and Clyde and the Wild Bunch, I think they're the ones that really triggered off the trend for violent movies. David Coleman, I love war movies, action and history. One of the films which I do want to watch on Netflix, but when you've got to be in the right frame of mind. I do want to see the remake of All Quiet on the Western Front. I checked out some of the reviews for it, and apparently it's very very good. So when I find the right frame of mind, I do want to see that. Yours travels. Yes, they removed a few things as people in the 60s and else he tried to get things on the TV. Another film which I should mention around about that time. Yeah, I mentioned the idea of films getting more and more violent in the late 60s to early 70s. Another film that you shouldn't forget. I think you go back to 1970. That film Soldier Blue. If anyone sees this, I mean, this was the story about how the U.S. cavalry massacred, tribe of Indians, and it was shocking. But it was actually filmed in such a shocking way. I mean, these new methods they had to depict violence on screen. I seen that film. God, I actually know people at the time who actually threw up when they watched that movie. If anyone's seen that film, Soldier Blue, I think even now, 50 years later, I think some terrestrial TV channels would struggle to actually show that film in its entirety without censorship cuts. It was like I think Soldier Blue. That was. I mean, did they really need to depict the violence in such a way in that movie? I mean, even now that would still come across as quite a shocking movie. Let's see, Mark Allen, Robin Burt Ward needed to have this considerable bulge per the TV. I was watching something about Robin Burt Ward. Apparently, didn't he go into porn movies later on? He was a bit of a lad, wasn't he? He was a bit of a lad. Pinball. The film Peeping Tom from 1960, directed by Michael Powell, is still a disturbing watch 60 years on. Yeah, yeah, I've seen that when I was a kid. It was on TV. Bloody good stuff. Bloody good stuff. Yeah, Mark Allen, Paul Newman, the 1977 movie Slapshot was a good movie. That was a good movie. It didn't go down well with everyone because of the four-letter dialogue. Because some actors in the 1970s could get away with swearing, but other actors were still perceived as too. And Paul Newman used a lot of four-letter words in that movie, which shocked a lot of people because people didn't know that he talked like that. So it was quite controversial, that film. Yeah, Mark. The biggest fright I got when I woke up next to a bar girl to find she's got a cock. Oh, that is truly, truly terrifying. That's truly terrifying. Frederick, after the shower scene in Psycho, there were people in the theatre cowering under the seats and screaming. I don't blame, in 1960, that must have been a bloody shocking movie. Absolutely shocking movie. Yost Travels, the new Equalizer with Denzel Washington is very good. I don't know if I've ever seen that one. I know of that film. I don't actually know if I've seen it. I might try and check that one out. Let's see. Spitz Energy, nice to hear from you, mate. The blood used in the Psycho shower scene was watered down. Hershey said. Apparently, that shower scene, what I read once is that Hitchcock actually took 90 takes of that in order to get it right. He said that he took, because he wanted to get that right. He actually shot that in 90 takes in order to get it absolutely perfect. Or was it because he just wanted to see Janet Leigh in the shower? I don't know. Mark, Gangs of London is an awesome series. Very good. I haven't seen that one. I'm not sure which channel that's on. David Coleman. In Canada, we all learn to use a chainsaw at a very young age, but we don't go cutting people up with them. Okay. Fair comment. Pinball, what do you think of the Friday the 13th series of films? I don't remember them. I know somebody called Jason was in them. Yeah, Mark Allen. I got to disagree on the movie Taxi Driver inspiring to kill Reagan. He was infatuated with Foster and believed killing Reagan would make him fall in love with him. Yup. Bit bizarre. Oh well, that's people. That's people. I mean, the thing is, you can't go banning movies. I mean, geez, if that movie Taxi Driver had been banned, I would have been gutted. That was the most wonderful. I still maintain that is Scorsese's and De Niro's best movie. It was one of the most groundbreaking films of the 1970s. Wonderful. Let's see. Adventure on the World. I meant your stabbing at you looked like a five-knuckle shuffle. Good technique. Okay. Donald Boudreaux. Happy Halloween, Eddie. Steady. All the best, mate. Okay. In case anyone didn't get it, by the way, what I'm wearing tonight, it's not deliberate. It's not a Halloween outfit. It's not a woodcutter outfit. Or, I'm not going to reveal my chopper or nothing. The reason I'm wearing this is because I've had a shoulder problem and I've had to cut up old t-shirts, cut them down the middle in order to get them over my arm and my head. So that's why I'm actually wearing this at the moment. I actually can't wear a proper t-shirt. Mark Holland, Eddie, last night I watched the 2022 movie Bandit with Mel Gibson and Josh Duhamel. I was very impressed. Gibson was excellent in it and turned in a solid performance. I highly recommend. Gibson, 2022. What? I've seen a couple of movies recently with Mel Gibson in. I mean, he must be really getting on a bit now. Oh, okay, I'll check that one out. There's another one that I want to check out. Another movie on which I can't remember what it's called, but I do want to see. I am Tilt. Saving Private Ryan beats seeing so violent, however true to real life. Absolutely. Oh, wonderful, wonderful film, wonderful film, wonderful film. Let me see. Okay, so Sandra Taylor, Eddie, okay, we'll make it easy for you. My answer to the question you asked is no. Okay. Do violent films incite people to violent acts in real life? Okay, no, that's your answer. That's a good answer. That's something, you believe it. I mean, I think. I mean, if I was to say which is more likely to incite people to violent acts in real life, the fact violent films, or the fact that they know that the law is a soft touch and they're not going to face severe penalties. I'd say it's the second one. There's people who committed some very, very violent acts, murders even, and they're being out of prison in a few years. Let's see. Ian Bowden. It's strange how our society's got much more politically correct, yet at the same time, and has also gone in the opposite direction. For instance, the BBC would not ban relax now. I haven't listened to BBC radio for donkeys years, so I wouldn't know. Good song, that one, anyway. I remember they used to play that in the disco all the time. I didn't go to one of those clubs. No, I didn't, but I used to play it in all the discos. Mark Ollick, the knife is never seen cut there in Psycho. Really, well, it was filmed in a very, very clever way. I mean, Hitchcock got away with a lot when you consider 1960. Jesus, that's a long time ago. Mark, I loved Nightmare on Elm Street as a kid. Well, that was it. The original was a Wes Craven movie, and it was terrific. Really, it was terrific. Okay, so Sandra Taylor, that was hopefully not. Well, we're not about hard work on a late Monday evening. We're all about being relaxed and having a rum and being whatever. Thanks anyway, Sandra. Thanks for your input. Let's see. Okay, Mark Oliver, Gibbs was very good here, but wasn't the protagonist. Okay, okay. I'll have to check that movie out. Bandits. I'll have to make a note of that one. Okay, squeaky door time. Okay. Let's take this. We've talked enough about this one anyway. Okay, let's see. Okay, so there's gonna be another question in a moment. I'll be back in a moment. I can't find squeaky door time, but I'll be back in a moment anyway. We do one more question. Okay, I'm back. Let's see. Let me see now. Let me see. Yours travels. Just watch the best bits of Little Britain earlier. It's hilarious, but the BBC would never allow it now. Oh, all this politically correct stuff has got out of hand, isn't it? Whatever happened to humour? Do you know something? Sometimes I see an unpolitically correct thing on Facebook, and I think to myself, that's funny. But if I press like to I like that, I mean, or I press that, the funny icon. Um, am I going to get the bloody police at me door? I mean, they're going to say you shouldn't like that on Facebook. You must be, you must be, a racist or something. Only a racist would press like to that. So you're necked. Everything's bloody got out of what they got out. And you're frightened to even make a joke, even when you're in the private company of friends. You're frightened to bloody make a joke in this day and age. Anyway, so let me see now. Terry Jones, did you like the Amityville movies, Ed? I can't remember too much about the Amityville movies, but one I did really enjoy, another movie, it was called, what was it? Oh, I can't remember what it was called now. It was bloody good. What was it called? Oh, it was a haunted house movie. I can't remember what it was called. There was a couple of them. Well, let's see now. Okay, so we're going to do another... Let's see. Let me see. Stephen, yeah. Stephen Forrest, you have to stop accepting that, though, or it becomes the norm. Okay. Nice to hear from you, mate. Anyway. Okay, so this is another question. Before we go, it's Monday night. We've been on for an hour and 42 minutes, and it's gone okay. Okay, it's great of you guys to turn up, and we've got something to chat about. Okay, so one more question. Okay, before we go, what we go, and this is a question, right? It's been this is topical. There you go. Okay, so. Right. Now, what's been topical in the news? Let's just get that off for a moment. Okay. Let me see. Okay, let's go over there a minute. Let me see. Okay, so what's been topical in the news now last week is that Elon Musk, that, very, very rich guy who's got lots of money, he's bought Twitter. It's been controversial. He was buying it and then he changed his mind and he threatened to sue, and now he's bought it and whatever. So Elon Musk is bought Twitter, and it's been in the news a lot. And he's basically saying there's going to be more freedom of speech. Donald Trump's going to be allowed back and all this kind of stuff. The fact is, I mean, who uses Twitter? I mean, I know lots of people who use Facebook. I mean, Facebook is sickly, it's nauseating, but it's corny. I mean, but the thing is, I understand Facebook, whereas I actually don't know anyone who uses Twitter. I don't know anyone who uses Twitter. So the question is Twitter any good? I mean, who uses Twitter? I've heard so much about it, but I still don't know how good it is or who uses it. Stephen Forex, you should check out the Harry Enfield sketches on YouTube. Speaking of things the BBC would never show now. Yeah, I know some of the stuff now. Nelson Mandela mugs Fidel Castro and steals his iPhone. I'm saying, yeah, I know what you mean, mate. The Clan F1 race Twitter, yeah, low. Mr. Cheeman, Twitch used Twitter. Okay. Sean Griffiths, he doesn't like Twitter. Frederick, the Orange Menace was banned from Twitter, millions of followers. I mean, I know who's banned from Twitter. You see, some years ago, I'm kind of late getting onto social media, but a few years ago, I logged into a Facebook account, and I've actually had a Twitter account for about 6 years now, but I never use it. I've posted a few things on there, but I just don't use it, and I don't really understand how to use it. You see, what is the difference between Facebook and Twitter? Is that Twitter is a little bit more, for people with a bit more intelligence. And I've always thought it's for celebrities. You hear a lot of celebrities slagging off people, and it's like that. But the way I see it, Twitter is like an exotic food. It's a bit more intelligent, and it's it takes a bit of understanding. Whereas Facebook is fish and chips. That's what Facebook is. It's fish and chips. You either like it or you don't like. You don't need to make sense of it. It's there's nothing exotic about fish and chips. So Twitter is like a Chinese takeaway or a Moroccan takeaway or something exotic. Whereas Facebook is fish and chips. So, I mean, I still don't know who uses Twitter and what do you use it for? Ian Bowden. Much as a bellend, but I'm also 100% fraud, please. I'm a Twitter user. Love it. What do you use it for exactly? I just don't get it. I just don't get it. What do people? I get Facebook, even though I think a lot of it's crap. I understand, and also the Facebook has its use because you can private message people and do this sort of thing. But I just don't get Twitter. I don't know how to use it or what it's all about. Stephen Forex, I'm amazed they still exist on there. Okay, Sandra Taylor. I use Twitter the most. Okay, what do you use it for? I'd love to hear it because I started as Twitter. I'd say when I first started using Twitter, when I started a YouTube channel, and it says you can post this, you can share this video to your Facebook account, your Twitter, and that's when I started using Twitter. I uploaded some of my early YouTube videos to Twitter, and nobody ever watched them on Twitter because I've got no followers on Twitter. And I just don't understand. I just think that Twitter, it just seems to me to be more for celebrities to slag each other off. But I just don't get it. I don't get it. Capo 17 gave Twitter up, too crowded. I am a tilt. Never used Twitter or Facebook. Smashed up all the dating sites though. Well, good for you, man. Well, at least you got something out of it. Terry Jones. Twitter is okay. More intelligent people than Facebook, but does have its idiots. Yeah. So I'd like to know. I'd like to know that for those who use Twitter, and some people here on here said they use Twitter. When you switch Twitter on, what do you do with it? Well, I know what I look with Facebook because Facebook is like fish and chips. As soon as I switch Facebook, he's made a comment, he's posted something. But I know what Facebook. Someone's private messaged me on Facebook. I know what Facebook is all about. But Twitter, I just don't know where to start with it. I mean, what is? I hear so much about it in the news, and the story that Elon Musk bought it for $44 billion. It's so topical and whatever. I just don't get it. I really, really don't get it. Jeff Northcote, nice to hear from you, mate. During breakfast, my wife said she was leaving me because of my obsession with Twitter. I nearly choked her on my hash browns. Okay, good for you. Good for you. Mark Allen, no, Twitter has turned into a cesspool. I know some people who actively are angry and hate Twitter and, vehemently opposed to Twitter. But my own opinion, I plead ignorance. I just don't get it. I don't get it. Yours travels. I'm a bit of a techie and never use Twitter. YouTube, Facebook are my favorite social media go-to. Yeah, me too as well, because I understand them. I don't understand Twitter. Yeah, bent over, something to read on. Okay, whatever. Mr. Pardon, Bellhead. Okay. Mazza, like David Cameron said back in the day, too many tweets make it. I mean, what? This is what I don't get with Twitter. It doesn't seem to me to be anything creative. It's you have I don't know how many characters you're supposed to use a limited amount of characters. What is something's happening in the world and you check it out on. This is how I understand it, and you check it out on the Twitter news feed. And you post a comment to what you think about it, but you got a limit. It just seems to me that you go in there, you post a nasty comment or one that you think is clever, and then you get out again. I mean, where's the creativity there? I don't get it. I don't get it. I don't get any kind of creativity. At least on Facebook, when you post something, quite often you post something because it's something personal to you and you want people to see it, or you might have something that's going to make people laugh. The clan of one is I cannot trust myself with Twitter. It's toxic and too tempting to troll simps. Okay. Ian Bowden, I don't understand how to use it properly though. Okay. Sandra Taylor, Twitter is great to complain to companies. You get it sorted rather than hanging on phone for that. Wow, now that's a use. Good for you, Sandra. That sounds useful. That sounds useful. Twitter is great to complain to companies. You get it sorted rather than hanging on phone for hours. Okay, now that is interesting. That's interesting. So if I had a discrepancy with a company, I could find their Twitter site and then go on there and say, I don't like these bastards. I don't like these. I'm not happy with it. And other people will say, and then all of a sudden they'll get something done about it to try and shut me up. That's interesting. Good for you. Good for you. Mark Ollick, I was on Twitter since 2007 when it was new. It went into the sewer. Okay, I just don't understand. I just don't get it. Ian Bowden, I don't understand how to use it properly too. Okay, me neither. Let's see. Yours travels. Twitter is more for trolling. Well, if that's what it is, well, that wouldn't interest me. I mean, I've got enough bloody trolls on YouTube. That wouldn't interest me. No. I mean, that makes sense. That does, but that wouldn't interest me if that's what it's all about. Sean Griffiths. These sites are stalking sites. Okay, well, I don't want to stalk anyone either. Mark Ollick, Twitter users want to trigger everyone else. Okay, I mean, we haven't really discussed whether Elon Musk will make a difference or what difference. I'm not coming from that angle whether Elon Musk will make a difference. What I'm saying is that I personally don't get Twitter. I just don't get it, and I don't really know why such a big. But I mean, for someone to pay 44 billion, it must be a big thing. Ian Bowden, I used to vent my personal views on things. I used to let off steam. Oh, okay. Well, that's fair. That's fairly good. Well, that's interesting. I used to vent my personal. I mean, if I had, I mean, now there's a lot of stuff in the news about bloody, people coming across the channel on dinghies, and being put about that. Where I live, only a couple of miles away from where I live, I could show you a hotel with a load of bloody asylum seekers are staying there. And that's a nice area as well. I mean, the asylum seekers are staying there. I'd like to vent my anger on that, but I wouldn't do it on YouTube simply because I have a nice, lively little YouTube, two YouTube channels, and I wouldn't want to do it there. And I want to keep on good favor with YouTube. So I was on something like Twitter, which I didn't care. I'd probably like to vent my steam as well. Let's see. I am Tilt. Can you use Twitter to shag women? Yeah, well, let me know if you find out. Okay. G North goes, Elon Musk has bought Twitter for 44 billion. Doesn't the stupid fool know he can get it for free on the App Store? Yeah, absolutely. Some people are just control freaks, aren't they? They just like to control. That's it. When you've got so much money, I mean, what can you do? Get more money. I mean, why did Trump throw a bloody tantrum when he lost his presidency? He's got all the money in the world, and he lost his power. Really, I think that's what it's all about. Yours travels. Facebook is very informative, as you can join groups and actually chat to people. I've met people all over the world from Facebook. Yeah, I know Facebook's good for that, but the problem with Facebook is that all kinds of cretins from bloody decades into the past crawl out of the woodwork. They see your name and your picture, and they think, oh, so there you are. That's what happened to you. That's where you are. That's the problem I have with Facebook. Let's see. Stephen Forrest, he was jabbing at Clinton, which is never a bad thing. Okay. Mark Holland, most of the guys living in their parents' basement and bitching with the courage of a keyboard. Well, that sounds like that's what trolls do, isn't it? That's what trolls do. That's so. Is Twitter all about trolls, really? Mark, I only use Facebook for family and friends. Yeah, Facebook's good. I mean, it took me a while to catch on to Facebook. It did, but now I regularly use Facebook. And I know it's the devil you know. I think that Facebook is the devil you know, really, really. Sandra Taylor, I see what's trending in the world. I communicate to companies who have a complaint. Plus, I have made some from there on, just chatting Twitter, not private. Okay. Well, good for you. Good for you. No, that sounds very, very, very interesting. Mark Oleg, I started on MySpace. You see, I wasn't on social media in those days. I mean, I just didn't use it. I mean, MySpace. That was. I mean, that had come and been around and then gone before I actually started using social media. Capo 17, Twitter is more tribal led. Okay. David Coleman, I've never used Twitter. There we go. Yours travels. I've joined loads of Thailand, Phuket, Pattaya groups on Facebook, learned loads of best places to visit and eat and drink. Well, Facebook is very, very useful for that. It is very, very useful. But I'm actually quite new to Facebook. I've had a Facebook account for years, but then I never really used it much. So it's only in the last year or so, maybe 2 years at the most, that I've actually started using Facebook on a regular basis, and it is very, very useful for a lot of things. You find your uses with Facebook, and then you use it for that. But I'd be careful about you can make friends on Facebook, but don't trust people. I had a Texan girl, with a nice big pair of knockers who tried to befriend me, and it turned out it was an African bloody scammer who was after me money, So, Facebook, you just don't trust anybody on Facebook. G Northcote, Man U defender Harry Maguire has been praised by social media campaigners after he blocked an abusive troll on Twitter, which ironically is the most successful block he made all season. Good for him. Good for him. Good for him. Let's see. Mark Oleg. Anyone remember CompuServe or Prodigy? No, I don't remember them. I'm actually quite new to social media. Sandra Taylor, find out all the news first on Twitter. I have to say that out of the people who comment on Twitter, Sandra Taylor has been a bit of a star here. She's actually given the most information about what Twitter is actually used for. So well done. Cheers to you, Sandra, anyway. Let's see. Let's see. Let's see. Mark Owen, I had to set up my Twitter up with a security setting so to prove anyone who wants to prove anyone who wants to follow me. Well, you got to be. I think social media in general, Facebook or any social media, it's all down to the strength of your own personality. It's okay as long as you don't trust anyone. It's the first lesson you'll learn in life: never trust anyone. I mean, I don't trust anyone on social media until I really, really know who they are, and I have a bit of evidence over who they are. Let's see. Elon Musk thinking of allowing Donald Trump back on Twitter is the worst idea since Donald Trump was allowed on Twitter. Well, the president, I know he was known, wasn't he? To wake up at 4 a.m. in the morning and bloody go on Twitter, a tweet storm. What's it all about? What's it all about? I don't get it. Sandra Taylor, yeah, Eddie. Example: Tesco deliveries always have short dates on items, and I get them refunded. Oh, that's good. So Twitter can actually help with my Asda delivery. No, that's interesting. That's interesting. Short dates on items to get them refunded. Good stuff. Good stuff. Frederick, the US politician's tweets seem to get reported in the press immediately. Okay. Stephen Forex, no one should be silenced. You can choose not to follow, just like you can choose not to watch a TV show. Okay. So I don't know I mean, Elon is Elon saying that we're not going to be so politically correct. We're going to have more freedom of speech. Well, if it's any good, I'll use it. Mark, Elon Musk doesn't know how to use Twitter. Well, he's paid 44 billion. I would have hoped he does, but I mean, I haven't paid anything for Twitter, and I don't know how to use it. Let's see. Stephen Gamble, it's a platform for far left racists and bigots. If you're anyway moderate on the right, you get banned for nothing. Oh my God. I am tilt. I could spend 44 billion better. Wonder how long it would last in Pattaya. Just keep ringing the bell, mate, and it won't last that bloody long. Okay, McLaren F1 race. Currently slicing some mature cheddar to go with my Angus beef burgers and chips. Nice healthy meal. I'm thinking of having cheese on toast tonight. Mark Oliver, Trump is still on his Truth Social platform. I mean, when you talk about Trump and Twitter and all that, you're talking on a different, a level that I just don't understand. And I just don't get it, Ray. I just don't get it. I mean, a former president who uses Twitter so much, and I just don't get it. I just don't get it. Let's see. Mark, I met someone from the UK on Facebook. Well, good for you. UK people are not that bad as long as you get the right ones. Sandra said, I like Twitter. There's no one actually knows me. I don't know one knew me on Facebook. People that often crawling out the bloody woodwork. Oh, there you are. Yeah. Your travels, you just block them people on Facebook, Ed. I have two accounts, one for travel and a personal one for mates and family. Okay. The problem I have is that I can't remember passwords. I've got a couple of Facebook accounts out there somewhere, which I've never got into because I can't remember the passwords. I mean, the one that I've got now, I can't remember the passwords of that, but it's on one of my phones and this main laptop. But I still can't remember the. If you asked me what the password was, I wouldn't know. I wouldn't have a clue. So anyway, Yogi Bear, Yogi Bear. Twitter makes 5 billion per year, so Musk will get his money back in 9 years, but will still own a company that's expected to be worth 100 billion in 10 years. So I'd say it was good business. I'm pretty sure he knows what he's doing. But good for him anyway. Good for him. Yours travels. Yeah, you can spot scammers in seconds. You can spot scammers in seconds. I can. I mean, when it comes with Katie, the Texan girl with the big knockers. You look through her profile. I see lots of African people there. Yeah, absolutely. Unfortunately, there's a lot of guys who fall for stuff like that. There are a lot of that fall for it. Ian Bowden, we knock social media so much overall, but we now want a life without it altogether. Do you know something? I mean, I don't want to repeat myself, but I'm a late starter to social media. I mean, I'm always late. I mean, people. I'm always late with technology. People have videos for about 10 years before I got one, and people had DVDs for years before I got a DVD player. Social media, I've only been on it for about not that many years, but now I couldn't live without it. I mean, everything I watch on, it comes either the laptop or the mobile phone. So I couldn't live without social media. Mark, I'll trust but verify. That sounds like good advice there. Okay, McLaren, don't trust that Clyde bloke on Facebook. Is it okay? I'll look out for him. I'll look out for him. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead here. Sandra Taylor, there's a rather loud noise coming from the bedroom. Gonna be hard to get to sleep. Okay. Well, I won't even go there. Mark Ollig, thank you for that super chat, Mark. That is very, very kind of you, my friend. $150 super chat. Jeez, that's very, very kind of you. I really have enjoyed the conversation this evening. Use this for the old travel fund. Take care, Eddie. Glad you are feeling better. From your friend across the pond, Mark. That is very, very kind of you, and that will be used for my travel fund because, by all accounts, travel is getting more and more expensive these days. Cheers for that, mate. Much appreciated. Really, really do appreciate that. Okay. Let's see. Yours travels, good man, Mark. Yeah, absolutely. Mark's a really, really good guy. Capo 17, nice one, Mark. David Coleman, great, Mark. Okay, so that's brilliant. That is brilliant. Anyway, thank you for that, mate. Anyway, that's going to pay for a few nights hotel rooms in Bangkok. So let's see. Where are we now? David Coleman, Twitter is really big with Americans. What more can we say? No, that's not very nice. That's not very nice thing to say. I'm a Scouser. Imagine if I said that about English people. Even though English people, you often say that about me. Okay, let's see. Let me see. Bottle Baby. I just got up and over the Dracula t-shirt. Do you know something? Bottle Baby? I've never worn that t-shirt. If you go back on my list, you'll see a vlog where I visited, what was it, Vlad the Impaler's Bram Castle, and I bought a t-shirt at the end of that vlog. Do you know something? That's still in the bag. I've never actually used it. I don't know. I'm going to repeat myself again. But if you look at my strange garb here, I've still got problems with my shoulder. It's clearing up a little bit now, but I can't actually put a t-shirt on properly. So I've had to cut up old t-shirts to get them over my head and put a vest on over it. So that's the story behind this. Hopefully by next week it'll all be better. Mark Ollig, it's all good. We all support Eddie. Okay, cheers, Mark. Great, you're a real gentleman, Mark. I really appreciate that. Let's see, Frederick. All right, social media. It's the dark platforms that are encrypted. Great for the far right. Social media. I mean, it's so massive. I mean, it does become addictive. Social media. I'm saying this because to someone who I went through years because for years I was working so many hours. I was just working. I just didn't have time for social media. There are whole things that happened in the 1990s, the 2000s, even the 2010s, which were big at the time, and a lot of people were involved in them. And I wasn't involved in them simply because I was working so many hours that I just didn't have the time for them. But nowadays, now that I've eased off work, I mean, when I wake up for daytime, the first thing I do is switch my laptop on. I couldn't live without social media. Just couldn't live without it. I am tilt. Very generous, Mark. Correct. Great conversation. Okay, thank you. Thank you for that, mate. Yours travels. I love Americans. Very friendly people and always welcoming for us Brits. Travel most of the USA. I'll tell you one of the reasons that I like Americans when I meet them abroad, right? Is that when I tell them I'm from Liverpool, they never go on about football. They always talk about the Beatles. They always talk about, that's what they say. Oh, that's the place where the Beatles came from. English people don't do that. English people never say, "Oh, you're from Liverpool." Like that's where the Beatles. No, they always want to talk about football. That's the difference, really. Okay, Marco, the British people are amazing. Much respect for them. Absolutely. Absolutely. I mean, the British people, I'm from Liverpool, and a lot of British people don't regard me as British. They think I'm from a little obscure country within Liverpool. That's. I'm sure they mean it in an affectionate sort of way. What is it? Sandra Taylor, Eddie, noise in bedroom is very loud snore. Are you sure that you're the real Sandra Taylor? Because you're not like the usual Sandra Taylor who comes out. You have a different profile. Okay. Ian Bowden, football and sport is so. Well, some people are really into sport, and some people. I mean, sport's wonderful. I can get involved in sport if it's the right sporting thing. But what I don't like, I don't like it when you get middle aged guys who it's all about football. I mean, football is a wonderful sport, but when you get middle-aged guys who shout and swear and get abusive about it, then it becomes stupid football. I don't see why middle-aged people have to get abusive about a sport. I don't really understand that. But unfortunately, that's really the way that it is. That's really the way that it is. Yeah, yeah, I mean, sport's great, but people do get highly emotional, and especially when it comes to football. I mean, and there's no other sport where I know of where you will tell people that you're not really interested, and they'll still keep bloody going on about it. McLaren F1 race. Ed, I was once made to visit Anfield with the ex-Thai family. I was shit, over. Okay, okay. Yours travels. Meet loads of Americans in Liverpool that come off the cruise ships. Now that sounds good. They're crazy about the Beatles and love our city. And Liverpool's probably a very different city now than the one that I left many years ago. I mean, it was deep in recession in the day, and but unfortunately, it's probably a great city now. But I was from that recession generation in the 1980s when it had a lot of problems. But that's good to hear, yours. That's good to hear. Ian Bowden. It is led by corruption. Look at World Cup Qatar. Well, that kicks off next month, and I must admit, I'm not really very excited. I probably will when I'm in Pattaya. I will watch a few of the World Cup games in some of the bars there. But the thing is, it's I probably will watch some of the games. But what I find about the World Cup is that when England go out of it, English people tend to lose a bit of interest. That's the way it looks to me. I am told. He used to live near US military bases. The guys were always so polite and friendly. Good for you, mate, anyway. Sandra Taylor, same one, Eddie. Just found out how to put my pic on profile. Okay. Oh, all right. Well, good for you anyway. Cheers to you, Sandra. Nice to Sandra Taylor, Eddie is me. Remember Steve can't come. Yeah, Steve. Yeah, it's I had this conversation the other week. It was just a flippant little thing. I didn't mean any offense to anyone. But the thing is, are there certain names that put you off someone when somebody reveals their name to you? And I said I'm often put off when somebody reveals that the name is Steve. Simply because all the Steves that I've ever known in my life, they're always people who want to borrow money from you. I mean, and apparently Sandra Taylor's fella is called Steve. Don't worry, I'll lend him a fiver. I'll lend him a fiver. Don't worry about it. Bottle Baby, November the 20th. Looking forward to the bars with TV sets. I'll enjoy the football. I'll enjoy the football, but I mean, I'm not one of the. One thing that puts me off there is a certain type of person you meet, and quite often it's a middle-aged person who simply got no conversation about football. I like football and nothing else. I can't relate to that. I find that's a little bit depressing. That I mean, yeah, there's more to life than football. Yours travels. Yes, Liverpool different now. City Centre is great. The new 400 million Everton Stadium will look great on the waterfront. Absolutely, absolutely, absolutely. Well, it sounds good. Do you know, my best friend who I've known from the 1980s from Liverpool. He lives down south as I do, but he's in Liverpool at the moment. And he worships Liverpool. I'm sure that you'd like him, Yoz, because he likes he likes singing the praises of Liverpool as well. I mean, I'm not saying I'm unpatriotic. I'm just looking back at the time that I lived there, and it was not good times. But apparently it is. It has got a lot better now. Anyway. Mark Ollig, agreed. The Brits and Americans have helped each other over the years. That's great. That's great. I mean, of course, there's a natural bond between British and American people. American people. I mean, my bond would be the movies. If you asked me to mention all my favourite movies, probably about 90% of them would be American movies. And of course, there's a natural bond between British and American. That can only be a good thing. I'd love to visit America one of these days. Ian Bowden. How can anyone support a brand name that is played mostly by foreign players? Don't get it. Something years ago, I was at a gym and I seen a young lad there with a football shirt on, and the football shirt had on it Messi. And I thought, what is that? Is that the name of a football? What bloody stupid names football is that? Messi. Imagine being called Messi. Eddie Messi. What a bloody awful name that is. I didn't know at the time that he's quite a spectacular footballer. Sandra Taylor. Steve is the said snorer. Okay, I'm not against snorers. As long as he doesn't, as long as he doesn't want to borrow money from me or whatever. Frederick, are you a cricket fan? Tried and couldn't figure it. No, I'm not a cricket fan. Not a cricket fan. Mark Ollig, I go to Thunder Bay every so often. It sounds lovely. I'm sure there's some wonderful places in America to visit. I will visit America one of these days, but apparently it's got very, very expensive in this day and age. I'd love to visit. I'd like to see all these cities that my favorite movies were filmed in, from New York to San Francisco. I'd love to see all of that. Let me see. Yogi Bear. It's like golf. It's like golf. What's that about? You hit a ball and go after it. I got a dog for that. Okay, fine. David Coleman. All the English guys were over in Egypt in World War II. What do you think the women would do with all the young Yanks with money? Yeah. Okay. Fair enough. Sandra Taylor, good night from me, Eddie and Paul. Take it. Okay, lovely to have you along, Sandra. Really, really is nice that have you along. I'm going to have to say good night as well, because we've been on for 2 hours and 20 minutes now. Happy. If Edson talks, I reckon he got out. If Edson talked it, I reckon he got out to get away from the Contes. The last I heard, the Contes lived in Kirby, didn't they? I don't know the Contes. I know John Conte was a bloody good boxer. I know that much. Yours Travels, good to say, my last 8-week trip to the USA earlier in the year will be my last for a while. It's changed a little and it's so expensive now. Okay, fair enough. I'd like to see it one of these years. Mark, our prices have gone insane here. Agreed. I know I've mentioned it before, but I do watch the Mac Master quite a lot. And he's traveled through America and he does a lot of food reviews. And some of the prices for burgers and fries are absolutely extortionate. They really, really are. Mark Saunders, I heard you can't be long until you hit the land of smiles. How many weeks will you be in Pattaya? Well, to begin with, I'll be there for about 3 weeks in 3 different hotels. But I'm doing Bangkok first. So yeah, I'm looking forward to it. Okay. So So let's see. I'm going to say good night now, anybody. I'm going to say good night. Been on for 2 hours and 20 minutes. I wasn't actually sure whether I could do this stream because I haven't been feeling 100%. On Thursday night, I'll try and make it 10 o'clock on the other channel. I'll be doing my last live stream before my travels. So thanks for all you guys coming along tonight. Really do appreciate it. Thanks, Mark Oliver, for that wonderful super chat. I really cheers for that. Really kind of you, mate. And hopefully I'll see you on Thursday night at 10 o'clock. Anyway, have a good week, guys. Take care. Thanks for coming along tonight, and have a good week. Cheers.